Hey guys, John V here from Phone Arena. Right now you're watching our in-depth video review of the Samsung Galaxy Tab 3. It's the 10.1 inch version. It's on sale right now for $400 and that's for the base 16GB version. But what's most notable about this tablet is that instead of being an ARM-based tablet, it's actually running an Intel Atom processor. Compared to its predecessor, this is actually both thinner, lighter. They did a pretty good job as far as minimizing the entire size, but the characteristic design of the Galaxy Tab is intact. Kind of looks like a Galaxy S3 just because of the placement of the home button right there. It's still made out of plastic, which of course is a little bit more prone to smudging and even some scratches, but at the same time, it allows the tablet to be super thin. And the other thing that we notice is that they minimize the bezel on the left and right side. It's actually thinner than what you see on the top and bottom. The Galaxy Tab series used to be the talk of the town. Well, that's until the Galaxy Note came out, and nowadays the Galaxy Tab is mainly reserved as an entry-level tablet, and as we find with display, you notice that right away. 10.1 inches in size, so it matches its predecessor. The resolution stands at WXGA, so it's 1280 by 800, which of course is the minimum resolution we'd expect to find on a 10.1 inch tablet. So it's not the highest resolution screen out there, but still effective enough, especially when you're looking from a good distance away. You're able to make out even in a zoomed out view, make out some fine text in the web browser. So it's not bad despite the lower resolution. And it is an LCD panel in there, so it has some nice natural colors. The viewing angles are okay. And as far as outdoor usage, we're still finding ourselves having to shield it away from the sun. Not surprisingly, you have a flat home button right scrunched in between two capacitive buttons, the menu and back keys. Meanwhile, above the display, you have the front-facing 1.3 megapixel camera, and next to it is the light sensor. If we take a look around the tablet's plastic trim, we find the right speaker grill on the right edge. Meanwhile, on the left, you have also the other speaker and 3.5mm headset jack. On the bottom, you only have the microphone and the micro USB cable for charging data connectivity. While on top edge, we find a bunch of different things. You have the tablet's physical buttons, power button and volume control, the raise, and have really good feedback when you press them down. Always something useful to find in any tablet is a micro SD card slot, so you can increase its storage capacity. And something that's becoming more of a hallmark thing with Samsung's tablets is an IR blaster. And if we flip it over to the rear, we only have a rear 3.2 megapixel camera. It lacks autofocus, and on top of that, an LED flash, and it only has the ability to shoot videos in 720p. So if you use a Samsung Galaxy S4, the experience here on the Galaxy Tab 3 10.1 inch should be very familiar. It's just basically a more blown up version of the TouchWiz Nature UX experience. And it's running on top of Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean. So a pretty up-to-date version of Android. Still cartoony looking, not as clean looking compared to stock Android, but you still have all the functions and the personalization here. The app panel, you have access to a bunch of different functions, connectivity, and even adjusting brightness right there, which is very useful, but it still lacks the depth of features that you find with the Samsung's Galaxy Note series with its S Pen, so it's kind of lacking with that, but for basic usage, this is more than adequate. Now, what's most notable about the Galaxy Tab 3 10.1 is that it's now powered by a dual-core 1.6 GHz Intel Atom processor with 1 gigabyte of RAM. Now, that's different from being the usual ARM-based device we've seen from the Android camp. And unfortunately, though, the performance is rather unimpressive. We just notice a lot of slowdown. Even with simple tasks, it has a really tough time executing. You can see here with the home screen with a live wallpaper, for the most part, it looks smooth, but every now and then you'll see just a little bit of a jitteriness with its movement. Other basic tasks, for example, launching different applications, it just takes a lot of time for it to accomplish, and it becomes kind of maddening because you'd think that a tablet like this without just basic tasks would be very easy to accomplish, but for this, it just seems like it's taking forever for things to get done. For example, now if I press the home screen, you see how long it takes actually for it to get back. So when the tablet's performance is being good, the messaging experience isn't that bad, but when it's not, you could expect some slowdown, even delays as far as just typing up stuff. With the layout itself, it might be on the cramped side for a device that has a 10.1 inch display, but it's nice that you have the row strictly for numbers and a lot of the punctuations directly accessible from the main layout. Out of the box, you have two options for surfing the web. You could either go with the stock web browser or Google Chrome, but between the two, we like the performance of the stock browser more than Google Chrome, just because with page rendering, page loads, and even navigational controls, it just seems to be a lot smoother. If you happen to lose your remote control for your television, the tablet can double as one thanks to the smart remote app from Peel that's available. So it's really good when it comes to the interface, and of course with the IR Blaster you'll be able to actually use the tablet as a universal remote. You could change the channels, you could increase the volume, do the same thing with your normal remote. On top of that, there's also a social aspect to the application. Seeing that this is running the TouchWiz Nature UX experience, we're agreed to the TouchWiz Music Player as a default music player application, but it also comes included with the Google Play Music app if you want. Now, as far as the visuals, the presentation, nothing really drastic about it, but you do have this alternative view here where you can actually swipe through different songs if you want. And the other neat thing is that with S-Voice integration, you could actually control songs. You could say next, previous, pause, play, and it automatically will do those functions. As far as the audio quality with its two speakers, it's rather shrill at the loudest volume setting and does sound rather weak too. Thankfully, it looks like it doesn't have any issues when it comes to playing high-definition videos, and on top of that, it supports a wide array of codecs out of the box, like MPEG-4, H.264, DivX, and even Nextvid. The one we have here is encoded in DivX 1080p resolution, and you could tell just watching a video by itself running very smoothly. You still also have the neat function of pop-up play feature, which allows you to overlay the video on top of something else. But at this point, when you're trying to multitask, do other things, it tends to slow down the performance of the tablet. Tablets have never been great when it came to shooting photos, and we could say the same thing about the one here with the Galaxy Tab 3 10.1 and its 3.2 megapixel rear camera. First of all, it lacks autofocus, so even if you're very close, images will come out extremely fuzzy looking. And as a whole, for outdoor usage, the photo quality itself is lackluster, lacking detail. Colors seem devoid, almost washed out, and in low lighting, you could pretty much forget about it, especially when it lacks an LED flash. We can also say the same thing about its 720p video recording quality. Nothing stellar about it too. It does shoot smoothly, which is nice, but details tend to be a little bit on the insignificant side. And on top of that, audio recording's distorted, you see some artifacting, and its exposure is kind of jumpy. Armed with a 6800 milliamp hour battery, we're happy to report that you get excellent battery life out of the tablet. With our light usage, seeing that it is a tablet, it's not something we use quite often, mainly reserved for home, we're able to get 3 days of light usage out of the battery. Sure, it's a brand new tablet that's now available, and yes, it's also priced reasonably at $400 for the base 16GB Wi-Fi model. But honestly, if you look elsewhere, you could find better tablets than this. For starters, the performance is really unimpressive. We were hoping to see a little bit more out of this Intel-based device, but unfortunately, it really struggles, even with some mundane and even basic tasks. It just doesn't have the finesse of other tablets. And when you think about what the Google Nexus 10 has established in being a well-rounded tablet, it makes you wonder if this is the pricing on this is justified. So if you want to learn more about the Samsung Galaxy Tab 3 10.1-inch version, guys, you can check out our website, phonearena.com. It's John V. Thanks for watching.